Just a few short weeks ago, we celebrated Mother's Day. It was a special day for me because I got to spend the afternoon with my boys, and it was after 4 years of not being able to do that. It was wonderful because both of my boys, they're actually very grown men at this point in time, they both have wonderful, significant others. So it really added to the conversation and the communication that was happening on the table. At the table, not on the table. It was yeah, we just had a wonderful afternoon of lots and lots and lots of different talk, and it's something that I really never had before with my boys because there was just something missing. But now that there's women in their lives, as I said, they add to that conversation, and then they add to the dynamic of getting together or being together. Well, that made me think of something special that I recently did for my mother and for my brothers and sisters. Let me show you a little bit here. There are 8 brothers and sisters in the family. We have 5 boys and 3 girls. And it's a range of age of more than 20 years. I have Anne, and then we have George, and then we've got, let me see if I get this right, then we got Rose, and we got Tony, we got Linda, we got Vicki, we got me, and then we got John. Now Anne's pushing 80. My sister is 80 years old. She actually had a son before my mother had her last son, John, right? So I wanted to do something special for my siblings this year for Mother's Day. When I was living in the Pittsburgh area, there's a city about 45 minutes away. It's Connellsville, Pennsylvania, and that's where my mother was actually born. Her parents came over at a very young age from Sicily to make a better life here in this country. So she was born here, but when she was 7 years old, because her mother was so incredibly homesick, they went back home. Now there's very little records of this, but when my sister Vicki, right here, came to visit me last August, we decided that we would make a bit of an homage to Connellsville and find out some information about my mother. We had a birth certificate for my mother that's dated 1906. Actually, we knew that she was born in 1906, right? But we had a baptism certificate that was dated in 1927.
What?
Yeah, this is her baptism certificate. So we were going on that, and it was written from St. Rita's Church in Connellsville. So that was the first place we went. We went to St. Rita's Church. Unbeknownst to us, there was this wonderful, rather elderly nun that was there that knew about all the church records. And we started to talk to her, and she said that the church was originally built in 1903. So we're going, well, how could my mother's birth be on record at St. Rita's when she was born in 1906? Well, the original church burnt down, 1903. A new church was built in 1906, and that was St. Rita's. And she took us to the vault, guys, and in the vault was the original church books, and there in hand scripted was the record of my mother's baptism, giving us the actual date of her birth. So we went, all right, on her baptism certificate there are 2 names, Carmela and Alfonso Basilone. Now my mother was named Carmela, so we thought, okay, I'm starting to speculate here. They must have somehow been either part of the family or sponsors, and my mom was named after Carmela. So we went in search of the Basilone family to try to find something. You write it down so you stay in touch, stay with me. So we went to St. Rita's Church. We were in the office, which was the building next door. We went to St. Rita's Church with this nun, and I'm going, there's got to be some kind of records here other than just this baptism certificate. And I'm looking around at the church, and there are some beautiful stained glass windows, huge stained glass windows. On the bottom it says thanks and to Alfonso Basilone and donated by Alfonso Basilone. I'm like, okay, well he had to be prominent and very wealthy at the time in order to afford something that big and that prominent in the church. So we went in search of Mr. Basilone to try to find any records on my mother. Took us to Carnegie Library, wonderful, wonderful library that was built probably turn of the 19th century, 20th century, 19th century, 20th century. Gotta get it right. Here we go. Yeah, late 1800s is what I'm talking about. Beautiful old library, lots of old wood and that sort of thing. And the librarian was incredibly helpful. My sister at this point in time was kind of going, well, you know, Kath, we're never going to find anything. And I said, no, you just wait. You just wait. So we started talking to the librarian, and sure enough, she took us upstairs and he had actual records of the time. It was like population records in books. So we're looking at the time in the population records, and we did find Alfonso Basilone. He was very prominent in the city. He had a grocery store, he was part of a bank, he also owned part of a pharmacy, and then he also owned some kind of manufacturing thing. So we went, aha. And he was a high-ranking member of the Knights of Columbus. So we went, aha, there's got to be something there. So we couldn't find any records, but let's start to speculate here. So we figured that the Basilones, who were very involved with the Knights of Columbus, who were at that time sponsoring people to come over to work in the mines, to work in the steel mills, to do manual labor, because there were a lot of Italians and people from that part of the country that were like stonemasons, and that was something that was very needed here because there was a lot of building that was going on in that era, all about stone buildings. So we went in search of Alfonso Basilone and found him in the library. And then I said, well, you know, if he was that prominent, there had to be something in the newspaper about his death. So we're looking up in microfiche about his life, and we find that there was, sure enough, an article about his death in the newspaper. So he was very prominent. He died, I gotta tell you this, which gave me goosebumps. He died on my birthday, guys. And I just went, isn't that interesting? No, I didn't speculate on that, but I just went, isn't that interesting? So we found out exactly where he lived, and I thought, well, okay, so when my mom was born, maybe they were staying with the Basilones, and because they were mostly home births, there was no record in the hospital, so let's go find the house, because people don't sell their houses, they don't move out of their houses in Pennsylvania, they stay there forever, and then they give it to the family, they just hand it down to the family. So I'm talking to Vicki, and she's like I said, she's really kind of downhearted and going, well, we're never going to find this cat. And I said, come on, keep your spirits up. Let's go over to the address. So we drive over to the address. It took us 5 minutes. And there we were faced with a parking lot. So yeah, it was very disappointing. And that was the time when my sister Vicki gave up. So I said, okay, Vic, I'll tell you what. I'm going to write up this whole thing. We have certain facts. We're going to speculate on the rest of it, and I'm going to send this to the family. So I did. I wrote it all up, and I said, in loving memory of our mom, this is my gift to you all for Mother's Day. And I wrote up the whole thing for them and told them exactly what we found out. And it was such a fun thing to do because it was just a walk down memory lane and giving us a little bit more to connection to our mother. And I have to tell you, her birthday was this past lifetime for her was June 1st. And I swear, every June 1st, she comes to visit me, because when I stop and think, and I'm really aware of being aware, I get a warm hug from her to this day. Thank you.
Wow. Sweet.